Welcome, everybody, to our new episode of the Female Gentle Leaders podcast. Today, with the amazing Marissa Warren, a hypnotherapist and transformational consultant, author, keynote speaker, and an amazing woman far, far from Australia. So, welcome, Marissa. And today we are here to talk with you about aligning to your own unique authenticity and sovereignty. Marissa, thank you for being here. Can you tell us more about what you do? What can we imagine under hypnotherapist and transformational consultant? Because you can do a lot, right?
Amazing. Thank you. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. Yes. So I do feel like I do a lot. I work with rapid transformational therapy, quantum healing hypnosis, which is past life regressions. I do somatic and tantric embodiment, breathwork, and sound healing. So I guess the easiest way to sum up everything that I do is I have a phenomenal ability to be able to tap deeply into people's subconscious to be able to help them to break free from any limitations and beliefs that have been holding them back and stopping them from moving into the life that they truly want to live.
And that's incredible because that's something that we can do for ourselves, right? We really need that support because the subconscious does things for us and in our lives. It even makes us decide in some ways that we can't see it, even limiting us.
Mm.
So, what made you do this work? I believe there is a story there.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like for me, it's been an all roads lead to the right direction. I feel like I've had so many things that have happened to me through my life. And it wasn't until I got to a certain point in my life and I kind of redirected my whole life that then I realized that all of these past experiences that I'd had in my life, and, some of them great, some of them very not great at all led me to where I am today. So I guess the catalyst for me making change was 4 years ago, my father passed away, and I just felt like my whole world imploded. And I woke up and I was like, nothing makes you face the mortality of life more than death, right? And I just woke up and I looked at my life and I was like, is this what I want my life to be? Like, what's my legacy? Like, what stories will I tell people about my life at the end of my life? And I just realized I was like, this is not the life I want to be living. And I felt like my soul for so long had been calling out for more. And I just wasn't listening. I couldn't listen. I was so numbed out on so many areas. So I packed up my house. I went traveling through South America for 4.5 months, went on a massive soul journey, and just really took time for me to reconnect back to me. And I felt like for so many times in my life, I just felt like a chameleon. I felt like I had to be all of these things for everybody else and just nothing for myself. So it kind of led me to trying the work that I'm doing with my clients myself. And then I saw amazing results and successes. So I started adding these modalities in and working with my clients. And I literally did a 360 on my life. And then I really realized, I'd done so much personal development over the years and I tried all of these things, but I still really wasn't where I wanted to be. And I don't know if anyone can relate to that, but you go to these seminars, you go to these workshops, you read all the books, you're trying everything, right? But nothing seems to be changing. And then I realized it was that, conscious and subconscious dissonance. So consciously, I knew I wanted more in life. Consciously, I knew I wanted to be living a different life. But subconsciously, I had a patterning and programming of these beliefs and these limiting beliefs and actions and behaviors that were repeating and playing out in my life through many different areas. So once I could kind of like bring the two back into alignment, then I feel like my life started to change. And then I was like taking aligned action to move me from where I wanted to be to where I wanted to go. Because again, it's no good just reading the books or just going to the seminars. And then I would go home and I was always like, but how do I make change in my life? Like, how do I change from where I am to where I want to be? So then that's the work that I do with my clients. It's like making change easy and actually creating lasting change. Because again, it was like, well, I can work with the mindset very quickly, but if we're not empowering people with tools, skills, and resources to be able to reset the nervous system, to come back into equilibrium daily, to be able to navigate through life's challenges easier, you're going to unravel again. Like it might not be this issue, it might be something else, it might be something unrelated, it might be completely related, but something will keep playing out. And I was like, you know what? I don't have time for this. I have too much to do in my life. So then it was like, okay, make change easy, give lasting tools and techniques to be able to navigate through life easier. So yeah, that was my story. My whole life transformed, and now here I am today.
It's just incredible. And I want to pinpoint some things. And what I see is that we often really transform our lives after living through a tragedy, right? Like with your father, I experienced something similar 5 years ago when my grandmother died and I burned out. So it's it's always there. But I love the fact that there are more and more practitioners that can help us before we really dive in that hole of
Mm.
hell, right? What do you feel that helps or could help people to realize they are numbing themselves before they experience such an unpleasant, I would say, transformation?
Yeah, do you know what? That's such a great question. And I think so many people are numb and numbed out on a daily basis that you don't even realize that you are until you hit a point of complete depletion. So, like, I'll give you an example. Probably about maybe 7 years ago, I hit burnout, like complete burnout. Like, I didn't even actually think it was like a real thing. And then it was like I was numbed out completely. There was nothing left in the tank. Like, I literally could not physically, like, it was hard to function. I couldn't exercise. People were like, you just need to exercise, get energy moving through your body. And I'm like, I'm struggling to walk from one end of the house, like mentally, emotionally,
When
physically.
there's no energy, right? What energy I should be moving?
And it was like, I can't even create energy from energy. I was like, the tank is completely empty, right? And that was what kind of when I first started exploring like the tantric embodiment, and really kind of like I had to I guess, re-engage from numbness from the ground up. It was like literally rebuilding myself up from the ground up in a version 2.0. And I guess for me, that had come from a combination of things. That was like working in really high stress jobs. So going from high stress job to high stress job to high stress job. It was being single with a mortgage. It was being self-employed. It was being in a toxic relationship that was really emotionally draining. It was a combination of things. And it wasn't just in a short period of time, even though I had a lot of things in a short period of time. It was from like many years. And I hadn't realized, because like many people, you have a high tolerance and you just keep going and going and going, and something happens and you have that resilience. You just keep moving forward with life. But it's like a cup that overflows. So internally, every time an event or a situation happens that triggers a stress response within your body, if you're not regulating your nervous system and processing and moving through things as they're occurring, it's another drop in the cup, another drop in the cup, another drop in the cup, till eventually you get to a point where the cup overflows and then there's just nothing. You can't regulate your nervous system anymore. So I was in a complete state of dysregulation. So that also can show up with people numbing out through binging Netflix, through swiping on their phone for hours, through staying up late when you know you should be sleeping, through not having intentional daily habits that are positive and affirming, through not eating great quality food, not living a life that's sustainable. It can be so many different things. And numbing out and coping mechanisms can be positive or negative. So people might think, okay, well, I go to the gym, I don't drink, right? So some people might numb out by drinking. Some people might go, well, I go to the gym, but then it becomes excessive. So then they're like overloading their nervous system or their physiological system by pushing their body to the point of excess. So even a positive coping mechanism can turn negative if it's not used in the right way. But yeah, I would say the best way to identify if you're numbing out is you can't feel what you can't heal what you don't feel. So, are you able to process and move through situations as they're occurring? If your body goes into a state of a heightened stress response, are you able to feel that within your body, feel the stress, and then be able to move the stress through the body and to reset? And I always tell my clients, it's like, when you watch like a National Geographic and a lion is chasing a zebra, but the zebra gets away and then it shakes off. That's resetting its nervous system. So animals, they have that hardwired into them. For people, we don't have that function. We have to manually be able to override our nervous system, I guess, to be able to reset it back down. But many of us don't. It is a learned skill that I wish they were actually teaching in schools, but it is something that's a learned skill. So being able to reset your nervous system as events are occurring stops you from compounding and then numbing out because your body simply can't process anymore.
That's so interesting that we really need to learn that, right? Because exactly as you said, if we will teach this to our children since kindergarten, I think many of them growing up wouldn't face all of this that we are facing now, right?
Yeah.
And you already mentioned twice there something about us being stuck in the how. So, or we are stuck in the how when we are looking at the webinars, reading the books, and we don't know how, right?
Hmm.
We don't do the steps because it maybe feels too much, too big of
Mhm.
a change, right? And when we are numbing ourselves, it's the same, right? We are stuck in some habits, some of them good, maybe even too good, right? Some of them just bad, and we can't even feel how we can change.
Hmm.
What helped you and what helps your clients to at least really start doing the shifts, right? Even just putting away the cell phone. That's a big shift, I believe.
Absolutely. And this is where it's like if that conscious and subconscious aren't in alignment together, you can consciously sit there and go, okay, I know I need to not binge this new season on Netflix. I need to go to bed early because I want to get up and I want to go to the gym. So consciously you're like, okay, I want to live this lifestyle and I want to have these actions and behaviors. Consciously you're aware of that. And I always think of your conscious mind as like the loud mind. It's the one that has that voice inside your head, right? But then the subconscious is like the silent assassin. So that's a voice that you don't hear, but that's the one that's driving everything. So your subconscious underlying will be like, oh, look, it's okay. I might just watch 2 episodes. 2 episodes won't hurt, right? But then we all know that Netflix has autoplay. So 2 turns into 5, right? And then before you know it, it's midnight and you're like, oh my God, I have to get up at like 5 o'clock to go to the gym, right? So then you wake up at 5 o'clock and you're like, oh no, I'm tired. So then you snooze or you just turn your alarm off and go to bed. And then you wake up and then you beat yourself up because consciously you want to be doing a set of behaviors and actions, but subconsciously that automatic programming is the one that's controlling the show. If you're not undoing and rewriting and recoding your subconscious, to think different thoughts to allow you to take different actions, you will always have that dissonance between your conscious and subconscious. And this is why, diets generally don't work, right? And resolutions don't work. Because people are like, okay, well, I want to do this, I'm going to do this, but they're not actually getting to the root cause of why they can't do those things. And then they beat themselves up for it.
And it translates in every part of our lives, right? In business too. We decide we are doing something. And then the quiet assassin, you said it so nicely, attacks. And we just watch ourselves not doing the steps and then wondering why the clients aren't coming, right? Why aren't we visible enough?
Yeah.
And this comes to the topic that we wanted to touch, the fact that we can grow immensely when we align, right? In the life, as you said, and then in our businesses or works, jobs, whatever. What do you feel can really help? these are the first steps, as you said already, right? Align and work on the subconscious so it stops limiting us. Uh, but there might come the fear, right, of being too authentic,
Mm.
too powerful, too much. And I feel that sometimes we really limit our success because of that fear. How do you feel about that?
Yes, I think first of all, the first thing is to work on that subconscious programming. And I truly do not think that that is something you can do solely on your own. I really do feel like you need to have people that can help you because they will see things objectively and from a different viewpoint than what you are. Because if you could see them yourself, you would have already done it by now, right? So work with someone that is an expert that can help you. The second thing is I say to my clients, it's like, I I can't tell you that you will never have a negative thought again because that's not realistic. But what I can tell you is that it will become easier to not let that negative thought override or control your life. So, it's not realistic to say you'll never beat yourself up or think a negative thought about yourself or have the fear or have something that's going to be, something's going to come up, right? Because new level, new devil, as you're progressing and moving through things, there's going to be another layer that's going to come up, which is normal. It's our soul's evolution and growth, right? But what will happen is as you start to do this work and to work through things, it becomes easier to not listen to that voice. So all of a sudden, it's like you'll have this recognition like, oh, that thought popped into my mind. Well, that's not a very good thought. That's like, not going to help me in this situation. Okay, I acknowledge that thoughts come up. Maybe there's something I need to do a little bit of self exploration on. Is there a fear? If that fear is there, what is this fear? Is it even a real fear, or is it something that's an old belief that has still like lingered around? Or then it's like, do I need help with this? Like, can I have a support system to help me to work through this? Because we're meant to have people help us through our life, right? So it's not realistic to say you'll never have a negative thought, but it is realistic to say that it becomes easier to just take action and to keep moving forward. First thing is to acknowledge and recognize if you have a thought pop into your mind. The second thing is don't have a dialogue with it, just acknowledge it and go, okay, thanks for that, move it along. And then the third thing is just keep taking action. Just do one thing that will move you closer to your goal. If you did one thing daily that moved you closer to your goal or the life that you want to live, you'll be surprised at how fast you can actually move from one place to the other.
And sometimes the steps and the actions aren't hard, right? They are just aligned and feel right. And I often see it even in myself that I question it. I'm already trained in doing the step, but
Mm,
then I question it. And will it do what I feel it could do, the step for me, for my business, and something like that. And in that moment, I catch that thought and I say, I don't care. I know it's aligned. I know it's gonna do what it's supposed to do, and I will see the results either now or in a decade. I don't care. I'm just doing the step. And this is the part that I wanted to catch because it can stop us not in the moment, maybe in the taking of action, but then in continuing and
mm.
trusting that it's happening for us. Do you feel that there?
Absolutely. And I think also as well, we get so caught up in our head about what we think we should be doing or how we should be living our life that, like, circling back to that authentic comment, it's like we lose our authenticity and sovereignty because we get so caught up in the cycle of, you should have this and you should do this. And by a certain age, your life should look like this. But everyone is on their own journey in life, right? It's like healing isn't a learning linear journey. And there is no right or wrong. And I think we need to start releasing these expectations that you need to have a certain amount of things by a certain age, or you should be doing certain things, and stop looking at other people and what they're doing because you don't know their journey. Like you look at people that perceive to be successful in an area, but you don't know their life story and how long it's taken them to get to that point, right? And, I had this like interesting conversation. It's popped up so much actually over probably the last 2 weeks where people are like, oh, 80, it's time to, most people, it's like, people are like starting to check out at 80. And I was like, at what point did people decide that 80 was the age that we needed to start winding down to die? I was like, no way, that's like not even very old, right? But it's like so many people were like, oh, well, I'm 80 soon, or they're 80, or, the reality is I've only got X amount of years until I'm 80, and then I'll probably be dead soon. It's like, no way. Like, we need to stop thinking that because everybody's saying that that's the new normal. Like, that's totally not a new normal that I want to be on board with.
And let's maybe say that there is no normal. I feel that everybody always like says that's normal, so I'm supposed to do that or think that. But in my life, in many countries and in many lives that I lived, and I bet you too, I never encountered any person that could be like even think about themselves as normal. We
Yeah.
are normal. Nobody is normal. The normal just doesn't exist. It's
Yeah.
just, I don't know, it's a global subconscious something there that it's created. Like we are like trying to be robots.
Mhm.
Not. We are all weird in some ways.
Yes. And I have so many conversations with
Let's
people,
embrace
and they're
it.
like, oh, yeah, they're like, oh, am I like the worst person you've seen, or is this like the worst you've ever dealt with? And I was like, oh no, there's like every session is so unique and every client's so unique. It's like there's nothing is normal for me, and there's no right or wrong. Like literally there's no right or wrong. It's like you just need to show up as how you are today and with what's going on with you, and that's it. Like there's no point of reference to anybody else except for you, the point of reference with you. Like, how are you today compared to where you were yesterday? That's it.
And that's so amazing. And what I wanted to ask you, because you're a business owner, I bet you have many clients, business owners too. And I sometimes see the clash between authenticity and marketing tips or best ways to, I don't know, grow, be visible, etc. How do you work with that?
Yeah, do you know, I think I guess the way I do life and business is probably varied to the way other people do. And I'm also very well aware that my beliefs are very different to many other people. And I'm totally okay with that because I'm actually really happy living in my little bubble of my world, in my existence. But it's like, I think you need to embody what you're doing because people feel your energy. And people always ask me, like, who's your competitor? Like your top three competitors. And I was like, I actually don't have any. I was like, I can tell you other people that are doing work that are qualified in what I'm qualified in, but nobody's doing what I'm doing. Like the offerings that I have are so unique and no one can replicate me, and I don't want to replicate anybody else. So I have no competitors at all. I have no idea what other people are doing. And the only thing I focus on is, am I embodying the work that I'm doing with my clients? If I'm not embodying what I'm doing, there's that inauthenticness and that dissonance again coming through. So it's like, how can you inspire and create transformations in other people, if you're not embodying that lifestyle yourself? And it's all relative, right? So what one person defines as living a life that's authentic to them will be so different to another person. And again, it comes down to that embodiment. So it's about being like truly anchored into your inner sat nav and internal compass of what's right for you and wrong for you, living with authenticity and integrity as well, and embodying the lifestyle that you want to be living. And then it doesn't matter about what the catchphrase is for whatever, for marketing or whatever, because you will always attract what's aligned to you. So if you're fully embodying the work that you're doing and the level of like life that you want to be at, and no one's perfect, everyone's evolving, right? Like, I'm like, live your best life. And I love my life daily, but there's still things that I'm like, I wouldn't mind that, or I wouldn't mind that. It's normal. It's part of like life, right? So I think really realigning to what's right for you and showing up in a way that is right for you in your daily life.
It's amazing, and I totally agree. I often joke with my clients when we do something that might be seen as unprofessional, like, I don't know, having pictures with no makeup, or one of my mentor friends, she loves to doing lives in her robe, right? Or something like that. And it's so amazing just to relax in that, to just be ourselves, the unperfectly perfect being we are, and yeah, just enjoy it. And sometimes we can be really like all with jewels and nice dress and makeup on, and some days we are just not that, and we can still be the best of us for our clients, for our communities, right? For our businesses.
Yeah.
Marissa,
And I
yeah,
think, life is about duality, right? Like, everyone has a light and a shadow aspect within themselves. As much as life is filled with like highs and lows, it's those vast experiences of life. And it's those facets of us as a person that makes us rich with our soul and the aliveness within us, right? Like we have polarity and duality within ourselves, and some days, yeah, you probably are going to be a little bit tired and cranky, and then some days you're going to be loving life, right? So, and it's, there's that saying, if you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. And it's like, yes, I agree to that, but also no, it's like life is duality, right? And it's like, as long as you're showing up kind-hearted with the best intentions for yourself and for those around you, you can't really go wrong, right? And it's just about also embracing all parts of yourself and releasing that judgment and criticism over times where you're like, I'm not having a great day today and I don't want to show up with my jewels or whatever, and I just want to wear my bathrobe for the day, and that's totally okay.
exactly. And that's so nice. Just really realizing it, right? Sometimes when we stop numbing ourselves, we start realizing these things that today I'm just cranky. I haven't slept a lot, so I don't even have the bandwidth to force myself to smile, right?
Yeah.
Some days are like that.
Yeah.
And some days are amazing and we are all shining and laughing, and that's amazing too. And the more we feel, the more we can embody what we feel. And I feel that there's the alignment, right? The more we understand what we feel and why we feel that, the more we can really live day to day, normal lives.
Yeah.
Marissa, thank you for being here. And the last thing I wanted to ask you, where would you like us to connect with you? You are an author. Told me something about planning some books. Could you tell us more about where we can connect with you and what can we, I don't know, wait or look forward to?
Amazing. Well, I you can find me at marissawarren.com and my Instagram as well. I'm probably more social than that, so just Marissa Warren. And yes, I do have some books coming out this year. So I've got 4 anthology books and a solo book launching. So a lot going on. I'm also launching a TV show probably around April, May. Um, yeah, so I have a lot. There's a lot coming up, but if you keep a check out on my Instagram page, you'll see it all launched on there. And then I also have a free program that I'd love to offer your viewers as well, which is called 5 Days to Freedom. And you can register for that on my website. And it's totally free, doesn't cost anything, but it's got some great little somatic embodiment resources in there to help you reset your nervous system. It goes through like helping you to align to your authenticity and sovereignty, and just really helping you to reconnect back to you so that you can come back into alignment with yourself, reconnect back into yourself, and just kind of, I guess, recenter and recalibrate to be able to align to moving into the life that you want to be living for yourself.
That's an amazing, and it's a continuation of what we were talking today. So that's amazing that in this way you can continue and start the alignment, the realignment, I would say. Thank you, Marissa, for being here. And for you, see you next time. I'm so excited for me having these interviews, and have an amazing day. Bye.
My pleasure.